We're on page 10.
Wow, thank you so much. Third grade is just filled with joy, those smiles and those voices. Cantor, doesn't it just warm the heart?
We've got some future rabbis and cantors over there.
Oh my goodness,
For
I
sure.
love it. I love it. Welcome everybody to our Bel Air campus. I'm so glad to see you all, so many members of our community. And welcome to all of you who are joining from home, wherever you're joining from. We are grateful to you for being part of the Stephen Wise Temple Shabbat experience. You know, this Shabbat is called Shabbat Zachor, the Sabbath of remembrance. And what are we supposed to remember? To make sure we have our tickets for the Purim Carnival on Sunday, because, can I please? Thank you so much. You got to remember tickets for the Purim Carnival on Sunday, and then Monday night, we're having our adult Purim celebration. And Rabbi Stern, I think there's still a few spots left to come. You can come. We're going to learn about Purim. We're going to sing parts of the Megillah. We're going to study. We're also going to play games, because in the Purim story, they were casting lots. So we're going to cast some lots like Texas Hold'em. And who likes to play a little Sheish Beish, or as I call it, Mars. I call it Mars. And we're playing for Homentosh. It's going to be a lot of fun. So that's what we're going to remember this weekend, is how joyous it is that we get to be together and celebrate. We can have Shabbat together. We can have Purim together. We have our beautiful children. We have our beautiful community. I couldn't be happier to be with you tonight. We're going to invite our third grade teachers to come forward. And boy, are we lucky to have such an extraordinary team. So Allison and Rachel, Leora, Orly, Donna, Roni, Esther, Tammy, and our Shlicha Yael, please come forward. And those of you joining from home, you can light your Shabbat candles right along with us as we welcome the light and the joy of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Please turn to page 20 in your prayer book. And if you're joining at home in our digital flip book, it's page 5, Lecha Dodi, this beautiful 500-year-old poem that our third graders are going to help lead us in. This beautiful poem is a reminder of how Shabbat is dear to us and how Shabbat is important to us because it renews us, it refreshes us, and it helps us to embrace the week to come. Continue with Shalom Aleichem. You can have a seat, page 24. And if you're joining from home, page 2 in the flip book. Shalom Aleichem, the response, Aleichem Shalom, peace be upon you, and may you feel the peace of Shabbat.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh We'll invite you to rise for our call to worship, the Baruch Hu, page 28 or page 7 in our flip book.
In this week's Torah portion, when we're given the instructions on what the high priest, the holy priest, should wear, and there's beautiful colors and bells and designs, but one of my favorite moments is when they're told to put on their headdress. We're told that it says on it,
Hello.
Oh yeah, that's true, Kodesh Ladonai, that it says holy to God. And as we turn to the words of Shema, I want you to look around and know that everyone in this space, all of us joining at home, really everyone who walks in the world, has that headdress on somewhere and has those words that say holy to God. And in these words of Shema, we bring that holiness together into this moment of unity.
Be seated. We're on page 36.
Page.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
And we continue with Micha Mocha, our song of freedom, our song of redemption, page 40, or if you're joining us at home, page 9.
When the night's over, we'll get in our cars, we'll go home, we'll walk into our warm houses, or snuggle in our warm beds. We'll sleep through the night knowing that we're safe and sound, and we'll wake up in the morning to a new day. Hopefully it won't be raining. We've had enough of that. We can enjoy the blue skies. We don't sometimes stop and recognize how special that is. What it is to have the comfort of our homes, the peace of our families, the warmth of our surroundings. On page 42, if you're here with us in the sanctuary, or on page 10, if you're at home, you can find the Hashkivenu. It's a prayer to say when one goes to sleep, to wish for a peaceful night's sleep, and to most importantly wish to wake up in the morning renewed, refreshed, and ready to face the new day.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Ve'amidenu Makreinu Lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Ve'amidenu Shomreinu Lechaim. Ushmor
you know what will happen if you don't take out your phone and don't record this? Nothing. You'll just be in the moment. Right, Tamar? You'll just be in the moment. You'll be able to enjoy the prayers. You'll be able to let the beautiful sounds of our kids wafting over the sanctuary bring you peace and comfort. And if you're uptight, if you're agitated, if you had a rough day, it'll bring you peace, it'll bring you calm, it'll bring you healing. And if someone close to you is ill, also send to them thoughts of healing, thoughts of strength, and let them know you sang this prayer of healing tonight. It's on page 253 here in the sanctuary and page 11 at home.
Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of bodies, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Our Amidah prayer, the central prayer of our service on Friday evenings, is said silently. And that really is an invitation for you to be able to reflect on the prayers that you can find in our prayer book. And you can find them starting on page 48 and in the flip book on page 12. But also to add your own prayers, prayers of gratitude, prayers of praise. As you're able, I invite you to please rise and just take a few moments to give thanks to God, to ask God for the most worthy wishes of your hearts. Take a few moments for silent reflection.
לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שים שלום, תודה ברכה, הן החסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום, בשלום. שים שלום, תודה ברכה, הן החסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך.
You can all be seated, please.
Our third graders are going to very quietly, in an orderly fashion.
Quietly and orderly.
It is what they excel at.
Absolutely.
Truly.
And the Jewish people more broadly.
Yes, we are also.
We are
Jacob.
good at that.
Jacob, over there. I happen to know that third grader well.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Let's get nice and quiet because Rabbi Sari and I have prepared a lecture for you with an accompanying PowerPoint presentation, and there will be a quiz at the end.
It's true.
I'm kidding. It's not a test. But instead, we're going to share a story. And Rabbi Sari, why did you choose this story? Because it's a beautiful story, and I was trying to figure out, what does this story have to do with what's going on in the Jewish calendar? Listen carefully. This will provide context.
Okay, part one is that I couldn't tell the story I told this morning because we had too many parents who were also third grade parents. So I was
you
like,
needed
oh
a
man, I
second
needed a new
story,
story. So that
okay.
was number one. But number two is we happen to have a holiday coming up that I think our third graders and our second graders and our first grade, everyone knows. Can anyone tell me? Purim, I heard it somewhere over there. Oh, was that you, Nikki? Nikki reminded us that Purim is coming up. And one of the things that we do for Purim, in addition to our carnival and hearing the Megillah and making mishloach manot and matanat le'evyonim, giving gifts to people who are close to us and also to people who maybe don't have as much as we do. The other thing that we do is we dress up in costumes. And here's the thing about costumes and about the story of Purim, and it's why I picked this story, is that the interesting thing about Purim is Esther spends the first half of the story trying to hide who she really is. So she actually puts on all these different costumes, the royal garb and the fancy crown, and tries to hide who she is. But the second part of the story, the important part of the story, where all the action happens, is actually where Esther really admits and owns who she really is. And so here is a story about a different Esther, an Esti.
So there's like concealing and revealing.
Amazing.
And figuring out who we are. Now I understand the context, and we are going to share this story with you. We hope that it will elevate your Shabbat and your celebration of Purim. Don't forget, the carnival is on Sunday, and the adult Purim celebration is Monday night. Once upon a time, there was a mother eagle who was so proud of the 2 eggs that lay in her nest. Even before they hatched, she already loved them. When the egg on the right hatched and her first baby peeped its first peep, which sounded like this, she quickly rushed off to bring this one food to eat. She never wanted him to suffer, even for the briefest of moments. And only moments after she flew off to get him food, the little egg on the left began to jump and bump, and the left egg was hatching. The egg jumped again and began to roll out of the nest. It fell through the air. Perhaps this was the end.
But no! A farmer was driving back from town and happened to be driving right under the tree at the moment the egg fell out of the nest. And so it landed safely and softly in the hay in the back of the farmer's truck. And off this egg traveled, completely unaware of what was happening, all the way to the farm. And so this story is about that little egg on the left.
At the farm, the farmer asked his young son to help unload the bales of hay. And the boy saw the egg, and he picked it up to examine it, and he could feel it moving. He could hear the pecking inside. He quickly brought it over to the chicken coop, hoping that these birds would know what to do with it.
And so, as eggs do, the egg hatched. And the bird that emerged was certainly the weirdest looking chicken that boy had ever seen. This chicken was the weirdest chicken that the chickens had ever seen. No one really knew what to do with this strange-looking creature, and so they raised the egg on the left just as they would any other chicken, and they named her Esty.
Now, Esty did her best to fit in with the other birds, but it was hard because she didn't look like her friends. She learned to peck the ground, and she made quiet clucking sounds. And she would bob her head when she walked, but none of this came naturally to her. From time to time, she would look up into the heavens, and she would dream of flying. She would dream of adventure, but chickens don't fly, and the life of a chicken is very predictable.
But one day, Esty heard a rooster crowing. And she thought, maybe I could do that too. That seems special. And so she opened her mouth to crow as loud as she could. And what came out was not a crow, but was a deafening screech. And everyone ran away from her because they were scared. And so Esty learned that the best way for her to fit in was to keep her head down, to keep her feet on the ground, and to keep her voice as small as possible.
Now, as Esty grew up, so did her brother, that egg that was on the right-hand side of the nest. And he learned from his mother how to fly, how to soar, how to distinguish things on the ground from miles up in the air. He learned to fly fast and gracefully and to be able to spot prey from a tremendous distance. But what he loved most about being an eagle was exploring. And so he would often go out for hours at a time just looking for adventure.
And it was on one of these adventures that he happened to look down and see the strangest thing. There on a small farm, he saw chickens bobbing their heads and eating grain. But amongst them, he thought he saw an eagle. And so he swooped down to get a better look. What is going on here, he thought? That is definitely an eagle, and yet there she walks with her head down, never looking up, eating grain. How strange.
Excuse me, he said to Esty, having no idea he was talking to his own sister. Excuse me, but what are you doing here?
And Esty, in the smallest of voices, said, I'm eating grain. I'm bobbing my head. I'm cawing to myself. What else would a chicken do?
A chicken? Replied her brother in alarm. You're not a chicken. You're an eagle. You were meant to fly, to soar. This life is fine for chickens, but you were not meant to eat grain from a farmer. You're supposed to hunt. You're not meant to speak softly and cluck. Your call is supposed to echo across the mountaintops. Ooh! Ooh! Can't you see who you are?
But she couldn't. She couldn't imagine she was as special as this stranger thought she was. So she ignored him and went back to her coop to be alone. And the eagle flew home and told his mother of this eagle, who seemed to think that she was a chicken. Esty fell asleep in the coop and had a dream. And the words of that weird eagle stranger must have made an impression, because that night she dreamed she was soaring through the sky, diving from great heights and spreading her wings wide with her head held high. When she awoke in the morning, she tried to forget her dream. She went out amongst all her fellow chickens, began to bob her head, and began to walk and eat grain from the ground.
And then she saw two large shadows. She looked up to find the stranger from yesterday with another beautiful bird. She didn't know that she was looking at her own mother. They came and landed right beside her.
Please leave me alone, asked Esty. Her mother studied her and said, "Have you always been a chicken?" "Yes," said Esty. And her mother asked, "Well, have you ever done anything that seemed out of the ordinary?" Well, Esty was embarrassed, but reluctantly she admitted, "My voice is very screechy. It's very embarrassing. And I'm too big. I feel really out of place here." And her mother looked at her and said, "Well, but what if I told you that those parts of you that you find embarrassing are the most beautiful parts of you? They make you who you are." "Oh, well, I wouldn't believe you," Esty replied. Her mother said, "If only you could see yourself through our eyes, you would see how special you are." But Esty still wasn't sure. I'm not special, not like you guys. I'm just a chicken. Just leave me alone."
So then her brother said, "We will if you just do this one thing with us. Come with us and fly."
"I can't fly. Chickens can't fly."
"Well then, you won't get off the ground and we'll leave you alone."
"Okay."
And so I'm going to just tell you, spread your wings. And she spread her wings. And it felt so good, so natural. And then her brother said, "Now stretch out your neck." And she did. And Esty raised her head and stood proudly. And she looked up and she took her eyes off the ground and she looked to the sky and she wanted more than anything to be up there.
Now they said, "Flap your wings," and she did. And Esty found her feet leaving the ground, and she found herself raising higher and higher. And she was so scared, but she was also so happy. Her dream was coming true.
She had never been a chicken. Chickens are wonderful, and she loved them dearly. And she tried to change herself so she could fit in. And she felt bad about who she was. But now as she soared higher and higher and looked down on the farm that was a speck on the ground and saw beautiful flowers in the valley and the snowy whiteness of the mountaintops, now that she wasn't trying to deny any part of herself, she felt free. She felt whole. And for the first time in her entire life, she felt like herself.
The end.
The end. Shabbat Shalom. It is our wish and our prayer for each and every one of you that you will have a joyous Purim and you will celebrate dressing up and you will remember all the while exactly who you are. Shabbat Shalom to you all.
Wow, rabbis, you are some good chickens and eagles. And I just want to say here at Y School, in case you missed the reference, we teach your kids to be eagles. They soar, right, right, Tammy and Miss Clement? They soar. So we are proud of them, and I hope you are too. We continue whenever we're gathered. We say prayers to remind us of the good we have and the work we need to do in the world. And so we say a prayer for the United States and for Israel. If you're here in the sanctuary, you can find the prayers on page 258 and 259. And if you're watching from home, it's on page 17. I'm going to read the passage in the middle of the page. In our prayer book, we have ancient words and modern. These words I'm going to read are over 2,500 years old, words from the prophet Isaiah. Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke, share your bread with the hungry, and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished, then your light shall shine in the darkness. A prayer for Israel.
Avinu Shabashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'Kavalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Tzmichat Geulatenu.
Let's read together. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shielded beneath the wings of your love, spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. As we say,
Amen.
Amen. I'd like to invite our room parents, Alex Fixmer and Sharon Faruzenpour, to come forward to lead us in the Kiddush. In the book, the Kiddush is on page 5. At home, it is on page 18. Please rise.
Come on up here.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam,
Ruby, come.
borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav beratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron le'ma'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila l'mikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'harta ve'otanu kidashta mikol avim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon inchatanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabat l'chaim.
I know we have a lot of our third graders here, but if you are a Wise School student, 4th grade, 5th grade, or 6th grade, please come help me open the ark. Only 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. Come help me open the ark, please. Aleinu l'shabech, page 282.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר ראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you so much to our amazing students for their leadership and their participation in our service this evening. We're going to continue with Kaddish Yatom. You can find it on page 294. And I'm going to invite us, first of all, to be inspired by a kavanah, a reflection that can help us prepare for this prayer of memory on page 292. When cherished ties are broken and the chain of love is shattered, only trust and the strength of faith can lighten the heaviness of the heart. At times, the pain of separation seems more than we can bear. But if we dwell too long on our loss, we embitter our hearts and harm ourselves and those about us. The psalmist said that in her affliction, she learned the law of God. And in truth, grief is a good teacher when it sends us back to serve and bless the living. We learn how to counsel and comfort those who, like ourselves, are bowed with sorrow. We learn when to keep silent in their presence and when a word will assure them of our love and concern. Thus, even when they are gone, the departed are with us, moving us to live as in their higher moments they themselves wish to live. We remember them now. They live in our hearts. They are an abiding blessing. If you are in a period of Shiva or Shloshim, the first 7 or 30 days mourning the loss of a loved one, I'll invite you to please rise, and you can put the name of those loved ones in the chat if you're joining us online. And if this is the first year of mourning the loss of a loved one, please rise. If this Shabbat marks the yahrzeit of a loved one, the anniversary of the death of a loved one, please rise. And finally, I'll ask us all to please rise in solidarity with our mourners as we give thanks to God on page 294. In the flip book on page 20, we thank God for the gift of life itself. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah. Bi'alma divrach chirutei v'amlich malchutei. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. B'gala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach le'alam ulamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal. Shemei d'kudusha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Please be seated.
We want to thank all of our third graders. Let's give them a little love. You guys were so fantastic. It was so special to have you lead. Thank you to our amazing band, to Alice and Jeff and Larry and Yaron and our rabbis. Your story was wonderful. It reminded me of the book Stella Luna. Anyone have that book? It's a great book, great book.
Thank you.
But we're looking forward to celebrating more together tonight, this weekend. Wishing everyone a Shabbat Shalom and a Chag Sameach. Mrs. Weiser has a few words for folks right after this closing song. So just stay if you're going to the dinner. And before that, we just want to sing a special text from the book of Esther, page 336 in your books. La Yehudim, the Jews were happy and they rejoiced, as we will this month of Adar. La Yehudim, hayta ora, hayta ora, v'simcha v'sason v'kar. That's it. La Yehudim, hayta ora, hayta ora, v'simcha v'sason v'kar. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.